The recession pushes millions of Americans into poverty. Possible break in Baghdad in the standoff between Saddam and the UN. And will your boss decide the kind of medical care you get? This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. The U.S. economy is not in as good condition as official Washington has been reporting. And the number of Americans now officially listed as being in poverty is on the rise. These are unpleasant facts. They are facts. Correspondent Richard Threlkeld begins our coverage.
The census figures confirm what's so evident throughout America in this recession. There are more poor people now than ever. The number of poor grew by more than 2 million, the first year-to-year increase in 8 years. As the government defines poverty, that's a family of 4 earning less than $13,359 a year, not including whatever property they own and government aid they get. The figures are for 1990, and this year the recession's even worse.
So as disturbing as these figures are, we think they're going to be much worse when the figures for 1991 come out.
Who are the poor? 2/3 of them are white, but the poverty rate among blacks and Hispanics is several times higher than that for whites. More than half the poor are children and old people, and more than half of poor families are single-parent families headed by women, like 25-year-old Tracy O'Pry, an unemployed mother of 4 in Dallas.
I love my kids there. I wouldn't trade them for anything, but I worry about how well I can take care of them.
And it's not just the poor who've been hurt by this recession. It's most of the rest of us. Income per person fell $428 from 1989 to 1990, the first time that's gone down in 8 years. And over the last 20 years, the rich have been getting richer at the expense of the middle class. 3% more of the nation's income for the wealthiest 20%, 3% less for the 60% of Americans in the middle. And for the working poor, it's going to be harder than ever to work their way out of poverty. A congressional study out today notes that the poor gained very little from the boom years of the 1980s because there's hardly any market anymore for low-skilled jobs. Dan?
Richard, what are the real consequences of this?
For one thing, I think an increased strain on state and local government resources, already strapped, as you know, and it'll be harder for the poor to get help. The social safety net now is the weakest it's been for any recession in the last 40 years.
Richard Threlkeld, thanks. No doubt what we've learned about the new poverty figures will be talked about on Wall Street among economists and politicians, and so will the government's latest report on the gross national product. It says that the GNP was down 0.5% from April through June, not up as the government in Washington first told us. More about what this may mean to you from our business correspondent, Ray Brady.
It's becoming a symbol of the times, a ribbon-cutting ceremony to open a new unemployment office. A giant-sized office that's expected to be very busy in the months ahead.
The outlook remains rather pessimistic for jobs and for income and for the economy.
Today's figures show the second quarter economy slumping more than had been estimated. And the number of workers filing first-time claims for unemployment benefits, America's new jobless, climbed by 36,000, the biggest weekly increase in 3 months. The shaky job outlook is keeping Americans cautious.
As a consumer, I'm holding on to my dollars. And I just want to see what happens first with the economy, where it's headed before I make any large purchases.
Given today's figures, many experts predict the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates again to stimulate the economy. A double-edged sword that also cuts into how much you get for your savings at the bank. If you own a bank certificate of deposit and $100 billion worth of them mature next month, you may be in for a surprise. 6-month bank CDs. You got over 7.5% last year. Now it's less than 5.5%. Switch to a 6-month Treasury bill? Yields there down from well over 7% to 5.5%.
Sometimes you think you want to go back and put the money under the mattress.
Mattress or not, those lower rates mean you're getting less for your money, even as the government tries to get you to spend more by lowering interest rates. Dan?
Ray, how can people make the best of this?
Well, Dan, there's one way you can get more on your investment money that most people don't think of. If you're cashing in your bank certificate of deposit, you don't like the rate you're getting, take that money and pay off your bank credit cards. You'll be saving 19% a year in interest charges, and it might even help the economy, too.
Thanks, Ray. Now about Baghdad. The United Nations Security Council is trying to break the impasse with Saddam Hussein. Earlier, there was some diplomatic movement as UN inspectors in Baghdad spent a third day under siege, refusing to part with evidence of Saddam's nuclear weapons program. Correspondent David Martin at the Pentagon has the latest.
The three-day tug-of-war between the United Nations and Saddam Hussein moved off dead center today as the Security Council offered a plan for letting the UN inspectors take away documents about Iraq's nuclear weapons program. In return, the inspectors would give the Iraqis a list of what they've taken.
The Council has said there should be the immediate release of the individuals and the documents, but it has indicated that the Special Commission is prepared to do the inventory.
As yet, there is no response from Iraq and no break in the standoff, which keeps 44 UN inspectors surrounded by Iraqi soldiers and demonstrators.
So far that Iraq has not, as I said, changed its attitude. That means they will not allow our team to leave with their documents. And our team cannot go without the documents.
U.S. officials say some of the documents were written after the Gulf War and include orders to hide the remnants of the nuclear weapons program which survived the Allied bombing.
We have come up with documentation of things we believed but never had smoking guns before.
Convinced Saddam will sooner or later try some other way of interfering with the UN inspections, the Pentagon is continuing its military preparations so that if there is a next time, President Bush can order immediate action. The next test could come this weekend when another UN team is scheduled to use helicopters to fly into western Iraq looking for Scud missiles. But the UN is having second thoughts about sending them.
We have to carefully consider if we should bring in a team at all in a situation where another team is kept in these under these unacceptable conditions.
Although the Pentagon had originally planned to provide armed escorts for the UN helicopters on their inspection trips into Iraq, military officers now favor launching airstrikes in the event of any further interference. And a list of potential targets has already been drawn up. Dan?
Thanks, David. The Prime Minister of Romania resigned today, giving in to the demands of coal miners who rampaged through the capital yesterday. But there was more rioting tonight. This time, hundreds of Bucharest residents joined the miners, ransacking the Parliament building and attacking the government television center. The rioters are protesting economic reforms that have led to steep price increases. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, AIDS victim Kimberly Burgalis finally makes her plea directly to Congress. And those celebrity confessions, can they help or hurt a cause?
Nobody takes any responsibility for it, okay? From now on, Becky, I'm leaving you in charge.
It's easy to recognize the leaders of yesterday. But how can we recognize the leaders of tomorrow? That's why we created the Tylenol Scholarship Fund. For each Tylenol coupon you redeem at participating stores from your September 29th newspaper, a donation will be made to the fund, which awards over 500 scholarships to students who show outstanding achievement. So help tomorrow's leaders get the recognition they deserve today.
It's the one, the only Red Lobster Fest. It's the only time each year when we serve up lobster a dozen luscious ways. Our most delicious lobster at our most delicious prices. But only now during this special event. It's the one, the only Red Lobster Fest, starting at $8.99.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
Now try lunch on Sunday. Most items $4.99 or less.
The full dimension of the pain, the politics, and the emotion about AIDS came home to Congress and to the nation today. It was dramatic testimony about controversial legislation and about one woman's legacy. Juan Vasquez was there.
It took every bit of strength that 23-year-old Kimberly Burgalis could muster to make a long-awaited appearance on Capitol Hill today. Her testimony was brief, but friends and relatives said the only thing that has kept her alive this long was the desire to be heard.
AIDS is a terrible disease that you must take seriously. I did nothing wrong, yet I'm being made to suffer like this. My life has been taken away. Please enact legislation so that no other patient or health care provider will have to go through the hell that I have.
Kimberly and her family knew that most committee members opposed the proposal she came to support, a bill to make AIDS testing mandatory for healthcare workers involved in so-called invasive procedures. But her appearance did provoke widespread sympathy.
Our hearts are really with you. You may not believe it. I can understand the lack of credibility in your mind and in your heart. Do we believe that today's going to mean anything with Congress? No. Hopefully, the American public will listen, and they will make it happen.
When she first claimed to have contracted AIDS from her dentist, her charge was met with nearly universal skepticism. But eventually she became the best-known AIDS victim in the country. AIDS activists and medical spokesmen say she and others infected by the same dentist are statistically insignificant among the vast number of AIDS victims.
My whole universe is affected by this. So please do not think that I am a statistic of a millionth of a percent. I am not. I am a human being.
As if to demonstrate the divisions in the medical community, two AIDS-infected doctors disagreed about the need for testing.
The hospital will never be a risk-free environment, but AIDS is certainly not one of the likely risks that patients face from doctors.
Those HIV-positive healthcare workers who are involved in invasive procedures do present a risk to patients. Saying the risk is nil or minimal means nothing to me.
The prevailing attitude among doctors and AIDS experts is that testing of healthcare workers is not necessary. But there is a growing belief that insurance companies may require some physicians and healthcare workers to be tested if they want malpractice insurance. Late today, the Bergalis family took a tour of the White House. They did not ask to see the president. Kimberly's father said his daughter had never seen the nation's capital, and she wanted to take in the sights after fighting what he called her last battle. Juan Vasquez, CBS News, Washington.
A top hitman for Colombian cocaine traffickers has been arrested in New York City. Federal agents say Dandene Munoz Mascara was hired to assassinate someone here in the United States, but they don't, at least not yet, know who. They also say he probably will be extradited back to Colombia, where he's wanted for dozens of murders. At the Manuel Noriega drug trial in Miami, key testimony today about his alleged ties to Colombian cocaine criminals at a time when he apparently was also being paid by the CIA. Doug Donnell has our report about the trial.
One of the government's star witnesses, whose face we cannot show you under rules of the court, told jurors today how he arranged hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes from the Medellin cartel for Manuel Noriega. Floyd Carlton, one of Noriega's personal pilots, said his boss spurned the first offer of $30,000 to $50,000 from cartel leaders who wanted to fly cocaine from jungle airstrips in Colombia across the border to neighboring Panama. Were they crazy? Noriega allegedly said of the cartel chiefs, adding his authorization for drug flights would cost not less than $100,000. Carlton's testimony is the most direct, the most detailed, and the most damaging of any U.S. government witness yet. He's looked across the room and pointed directly at Noriega at least 4 times today, and he's named him as a party to events even more than that. For the first time, Noriega was showing some signs of strain today, fidgeting with his headset while furiously taking notes. Floyd Carlton, who is in the Witness Protection Program, testified today that he personally delivered $450,000 to Noriega bagmen. After the first drug flight, Carlton told jurors Noriega raised his price from $100,000 to $150,000. Here we go again, Carlton quoted one cocaine kingpin as saying, "There is always a problem in Panama." Doug Tennell, CBS News, Miami.
A landmark trial began today in El Salvador under heavy security. With the jury hidden from view for fear of reprisals, 9 Salvadoran military men went on trial for the murders of 6 Jesuit priests in 1989. It's the first time Salvadoran army officers have been charged in a human rights case. Stay here with us now for more CBS News, including Eye on America. Tonight, when your health care is someone else's business.
This is when I love Grape Nut cereal. I've been out here all morning, and I'm still going. Does your cereal do this? Try breakfast with Grape Nuts for a week. I did, and I feel great. Grape Nuts is this natural energy source, and it's fat-free. It tastes so good, too. It's hearty. It's got what you need to help keep you going. If you want to feel this good every morning, try Grape Nuts for a week yourself.
Breakfast with Post Grape Nuts helps keep you going strong all morning long.
Coming to you hot and fresh from Domino's Pizza, Domino's Pepperoni Pizza Feast with extra pepperoni and cheese. Now a medium's just $8.99 or two for $12.99.
Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
Craft Caravan Incorporated. Are you having trouble getting an international operator? All Nations Forwarding. Are you having more trouble getting overseas faxes through on the first try? We want you back. AT&T Pro Watts. Competitive prices on international calls. Plus our new Favorite Nation 10% discount. Switch now and get 1 month of long distance free. We want you back. Call 1-800-222-0900.
Most kids think medicine has to taste bad. But Dimetap Elixir tastes great, and it's recommended most by pediatricians.
I like Dimetap.
Dimetap and Dimetap DM works as good as it tastes.
Morning, lady.
Trying her for murder would be easy if she were only one person. What do you mean, if she were only one person? Tune in Sunday and find out.
In Eye on America, losing control over decisions about your own health care. As costs rise, more companies are calling the shots on the kind of medical coverage their workers get, if they get it at all. Mark Phillips has tonight's look at health care in America, a matter of life and debt.
The members of Local 10208 of the Chicago Federation of Musicians, otherwise known as the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, have gone on strike. The music has stopped. The dispute, health care and who should pay for it. The musicians who are being asked to pay more, or the symphony which says it has to control costs. It's an argument which, unlike the music, is being heard across the land.
Very few things can continue to spiral at 25 to 26% a year and have somebody pay for them.
So more and more businesses are refusing to pay for it. Workers are learning that their bosses are changing the rules. In business today, not to manage health care costs is to risk dying under the weight of them.
Yeah, I have located a group of doctors in Towson.
In one type of cost control arrangement, firms hire insurance companies to set up preferred provider networks. Doctors who will work for a flat monthly fee per patient. Use them and the insurance pays. Go outside the plan and pay more of the fee yourself.
Managed care is here to stay. You know, the estimates are that managed care is growing, is going to be somewhere in the 60, 70, 80% range by the end of this century.
The age of the old family doctor, it seems, is going the way of the house call. The new company-arranged doctors, called, by the way, gatekeepers, work within insurance guidelines that determine the type of care, even the duration of hospital stays. To the companies, it's a way to fight abuses. To others, it's discount medicine.
You're talking about business people. They run businesses, and they're applying a business mentality to health care. It's, to me, like sending a fox to guard the hen house.
Yeah, telephone, Mr. Jackson. May I help you?
At New York Telephone, they've come up with what they feel is a kinder, gentler plan where employees can still go to their own doctors if they'll work for the company rate.
People do not want to give up their own doctor. People do not want to have to drive further than they had to drive before to go to the hospital.
The big saving to the company under this plan is in working out discount deals with hospitals on the big ticket items.
Things such as cardiac care, cancer care, lab tests. And if you can bring a volume of lab tests to a reputable laboratory, there's a potential for us to get a discount.
But nowhere has the frustration over rising health care costs produced a more dramatic reaction than here. Fed up with doctors, insurance companies, and clinics charging too much? Fire them. Set up your own little self-contained, cost-controlled healthcare system.
The present system isn't working, so there's absolutely no risk in trying something else.
Here at Quad Graphics in Pewaukee, Wisconsin, that something was to build your own clinic, hire your own staff, and tell your employees that if they come here, all their costs will be covered, go somewhere else, and pay some of the fees yourself. Not surprisingly, most have chosen to come here.
It was very nice to be able to get in right away and get the good service.
But it's an experimental program, more suited to small towns than big cities. And critics ask, who are the doctors working for, the patient or the company?
companies are taking care of their own escalating costs and everything else. Why not take control of your health costs if you can?
If you can is the operative phrase. None of these plans actually cuts costs. They merely try to hold down the increases. They are imperfect attempts to come up with something that works in an imperfect and ever more expensive healthcare world.
I bet you can hear everything, can't you?
Mark Phillips, CBS News, Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
You're not going to believe what happened.
You're right. I'm not.
You don't believe your own brother? Come on. I'm really sorry I'm late.
Late? We're having coffee.
Taster's choice. Just in time.
Well, no, I think you know everyone except...
We've already met.
We, share the same taste in coffee.
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
Are you always this late?
I won't be tomorrow.
What's happening tomorrow?
I'm inviting you to dinner.
What makes you think I'll accept?
You can't resist my coffee.
Take your favorite cereals. What if all you could see were the side panels? You'd find only one of these is low in sugar and a good source of fiber and made from whole grain oats. Cheerios. See for yourself. The choice is Cheerios.
It feels to me always like someone's banging on my knuckles with a hammer. It's really uncomfortable.
Today, it isn't aspirin, it's Advil for minor arthritis pain.
Advil just really helps with the pain. It makes it go away. The Advil caused me no upset stomach.
Over 100 million people have tried Advil for many types of pain.
That means to me it must work, and it also means it must be safe, and those are two things that I'm interested in.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
I'm Paula Zahn.
And I'm Harry Smith. He left her $5 million in debt.
Tomorrow, Sammy Davis's widow on CBS This Morning.
The Federal Communications Commission adopted tighter new requirements today on some special phone services, the ones that start with a 900 number and charge consumers plenty for everything from horoscopes to dirty talk and dates. Among other things, the FCC says callers must now be told what they are being charged in advance and be given a chance to hang up without being charged. Some highly successful people are now coming out with stories about being sexually abused in childhood. These public revelations are shocking and, depending on your point of view, can even be fascinating. But as Richard Roth reports, not everyone is convinced they're the right thing to do.
You guys sit down. We're having a little family meeting.
There was no funny business at all last weekend in Denver and no cameras present when Roseanne Arnold talked about her real-life family, telling a group of incest survivors that she too had been a victim of abuse.
My name is Marilyn Vanderber Atler, and I survived incest.
And certainly there was no glamour in a former Miss America's recent disclosure that she had been a victim of child abuse more than 30 years ago.
Daddy, could we have a C and an E flat, please?
The cheery picture of family life amounted to a lie. America's always been spellbound by celebrities' secret lives, but the latest confessors raise a tough question about a very serious subject. Is anyone helped when child abuse is exposed like this?
There were so many kinds of abuse in our family. It was really terrible.
When LaToya Jackson, who has a reputation for bearing everything but her soul, promotes a new book claiming to uncover ugly family secrets, can anything therapeutic come from all the publicity? Some experts say maybe.
Most of the time, I see it as an opportunity to bring a very important and painful subject to public awareness.
Nina Jaffe runs a center for abused children.
If someone who is known to the public eye makes this kind of revelation, a subject that is taboo becomes less so.
And that's good.
And I think that's good.
There are other ways stars use their power to illuminate such a serious problem.
You have sexually abused your own daughter. Don't you?
A half-hour film on child abuse made with $500,000 in donated services last year received an award, but nowhere near the public attention that Roseanne or LaToya get, whatever they do. It does make some people cynical.
Is the way to reach
abused children or adults who were once abused children? Is this the most efficient way to have flaky celebrities on television talking about their childhoods? I mean, really, my life wouldn't be any darker if I never knew anything more about Roseanne Barr or LaToya Jackson.
The problem, in other words, could just be in the stars, some so indiscreet in their public behavior that when their private torment is revealed, it may be mistaken for a stunt. Richard Roth, CBS News, Hollywood.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. See you again tomorrow. Good night.
Let's throw a party with your birthday money. I'm putting it into a MetLife State Street mutual fund. Balloons, a few friends, your big sister. Maybe stock or bond fund, a money market or tax-exempt fund. Linus! In time, I could have thousands of dollars in my MetLife mutual fund. Thousands? What a party that could be. Get Met, it pays.
Because of high cholesterol, 1 out of 4 adults is gambling with heart disease. You can leave it to chance or do something about it with a diet including Fleischmann's margarine. 0 cholesterol, low saturated fat. Fleischmann's, because your heart is in your hands.
Listen, those new dog biscuits you've been getting instead of Milk-Bone, why? Milk-Bone has nearly half the fat of those Purina biscuits. Half the fat. Please, give me back my Milk-Bone.
Recently, DuPont announced that its energy unit Conoco would pioneer the use of new double-hulled oil tankers in order to safeguard the environment. The response has been overwhelmingly positive. DuPont, better things for better living.
I knew something must be wrong. I was getting these sharp pains, and sometimes pressure and bloating. I'm glad I asked my doctor. He said it was gas and recommended Mylicon.
Mylanta's Mylicon Gas. It has the best medicine for gas.
These days, there are more pain relievers than ever. But last year, more people switched to Tylenol gel caps than any other. Extra strength Tylenol gel caps. Concentrated, powerful, easy to swallow. Join the switch to Tylenol gel caps.
The people of CBS News. Dan Rather,
Connie Chung,
Harry Smith,
Paula Zahn,
Mark McEwen,
and Charles Osgood. Experience
CBS News.
Eye on America's health care. What kind of insurance coverage do you have? If an emergency struck, could you afford it? Could you pay for care without dipping into your savings? For millions of Americans, health care has become a matter of life or death. Special reports on health care and its cost to you, all this week on the CBS Evening News. This is CBS.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Clark. Coming up next on News Channel 5's 6 o'clock report, a Metro police officer is arrested for allegedly using a bank card taken from a man he arrested. Mayor Phil Bredesen tries to clean up City Hall with a tough new ethics policy. And in tonight's entertainment report, see how this country music star celebrated a record-breaking record. We'll have those stories and our telepoll question ask you about using military force again in the Gulf. News Channel 5's 6 o'clock report is next. Join us.